Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and it is time to do a week 4 wrap-up for March Mystery Madness. Now, I am doing this on a Tuesday night. I have been trying to do these on a Monday night, and last night I just completely forgot to do it. I was kind of out and about running some errands, didn't even think about it, and I've already uploaded one video today. I had my live stream, and I don't normally like to do 2 videos in a day, but I've got another one coming out tomorrow, which is going to be my April TBR. So I thought, well, I could just wait and put this all in my March wrap-up, but I am going to be going to Texas for the Easter weekend. Katie and I are flying out on Friday, so that only leaves me one day to get my wrap-up done, and I would rather just go ahead and tell you about the most recent 5 books that I've finished, and then I'm still finishing some more. I'm still going to have a few more that I'm going to finish between now and the end of tomorrow. So I will try to, tell you a little bit more about those in my wrap-up, but I'll make my wrap-up just kind of a summary, stats, that kind of thing, tell you about what prompts I accomplished and all that. So for now, here are the 5 books that I have finished over the past week. I have now finished a total of 20 books. All of them have been mysteries except 3, I believe. And what I'm currently reading right now, I'm finally getting to a couple of middle grade books. So I'll tell you about those at the during my March wrap-up. But these are all mysteries and count towards March Mystery Madness. In fact, I think 3 of them are going to count as prompts, and 2 of them are books that I was going to need to read anyway for my book club. And one of them, actually 2 of them, they count for read-alongs. One that I hosted myself, and then one that was hosted by another one of the March Mystery Madness hosts. So let's just get into it. So the first one I've been reading now all month, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I did finally finish that. I didn't love it, but the reason I didn't love it was because I didn't like the characters. There were just so many unlikable characters, and I feel like about 75% of the book was taken up with character development of these unlikable characters, and mingled with that was all the foul language that's involved with so many unlikable characters, and I just didn't care for it. Now, by the last 25%, I did start to get interested. There were a lot of things that all kind of came together, all these unlikable characters. We finally got to see why they, what one had to do with the other and all of that. And there were a lot of surprises. So I can see why people enjoy it. I didn't really get all that many parallels with, and then there were none by Agatha Christie. I had heard it compared to that. I mean, it was, it all took place on this one island. So I forget what you call that trope where everybody is all together, in one place and no one can get in or out, that kind of thing. But there was definitely more than 10 people, but maybe there were 10 main characters. I don't even know how many. There were several different perspectives, and then there were a few other characters that were mentioned that I don't think we got to see their perspective, like the mother of the bride and the father of the bride and some of the groomsmen, things like that. But there were quite a few perspectives, and I don't know, it's just really not my kind of book. But it'll make for interesting discussion at our book club, and if you have read this and you want to add some thoughts to my discussion threads on the Mystery Madness Goodreads group, I hope you will do that. It's in the Whodunits folder, and just because I didn't love it doesn't mean that I think you ought to not love it. I would love for you to love it. In fact, this morning we were chatting about it on my live stream, and Amber from Ambi Crafts Reads, she's like, I didn't think it was so bad. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you didn't, because I would have felt really bad if everybody hated it, a book that I'm leading a read-along of. But, it definitely had its merit, and it had pros and cons. It just wasn't anything that I loved, but I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I got to see what all the fuss was about. And, for that reason, I'm glad I read it. So then, another one that was a little bit of a disappointment because I didn't love this one as much as most of the books in this series. This is the Handsome Man's Deluxe Cafe by Alexander McCall Smith. This is from the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. This was a very good book, but it felt a little more disjointed, and I felt like he was trying to cover too many things in one book and didn't really flesh out all that could have been done with the cafe itself. So, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it nearly as much as some of the other books that I have read in this series. And then I read Rebecca, or I listened to it on audio. Rebecca by Daphne DuMaurier is definitely a very celebrated book. People just love it, and I enjoyed it, but I will probably have to go back and just read it in print, because I know there's always the fear if you listen to something on audio, you're going to let some things get past you. You're going to miss some things, and I'm sure that's the case, because I didn't really get what all the fuss was about. I did enjoy it. I was surprised, and, I didn't hate it, but I think I probably would love it more if I, gave it my full attention. And the same thing for this one, Death in the Clouds by Agatha Christie. Matt Wall from the Paperback Junkie was leading this as a read-along for March Mystery Madness. And so I listened to it after the fact. He was already long done with it, and I don't know if there's a discussion thread for it anywhere or not, but I think some people were maybe chatting about it on the Discord group. But this one I thought was going to be like it all took place on the plane, but the murder took place on the plane, and then they landed, and then he solved the murder. I think I would have been a little more thrilled with it if, they were still up in the air when, I don't know. I'm not sure what I was expecting. Well, because Matt made the comparison of snakes on the plane, and I was like, well, and there is a bee, I think, or a wasp or something, but, there wasn't like a whole swarm of them or something. So, I don't know. Maybe I had too many horror movies in the back of my head. Not that I watch a lot of horror movies, but I am kind of a fan of that genre of horror movie where, like, an animal or a bug or something mutates or multiplies and takes over something. I know that sounds twisted, but, like Tremors, that's one of my all-time favorite horror-type movies. But anyway, this was not that at all, and it was definitely more sedate than that. I have not read that many Poirot books, but I felt like they were making fun of him a little bit in this one, and I don't even know where this falls in the series, but there was one joke that somebody made when they were going through the list of suspects, and they were just listing off the people on the plane and the possible suspects, and they listed Poirot, and they said, and he's definitely the criminal, and I thought that was just kind of funny, because I don't recall people making fun of him in the other books that I've read, so I thought that was kind of fun. Then I also listened to Eggs in Purgatory by Laura Childs. This is the first book in the Cackleberry Club mysteries. This was a little more coarse than I was expecting. There was a little bit of light swearing in this, and I just wasn't expecting that. There was, though, a really good quote. In fact, I marked it, and that's why I have a Post-it note here. I'm going to read it to you. I thought this quote was hilarious. The policeman was talking to one of the ladies from the Cackleberry Club, and he says, Doogie snapped the book closed and stared at her, a crazed gleam lighting his eyes. You have the right to remain silent, he told her. Anything you say will be misquoted and used against you. I mean, he wasn't actually arresting her, but they were just discussing the case, I think. And so I don't even know which character Doogie is. I don't even remember, but I just thought that was funny, that you will be misquoted and it'll be used against you. Anyway, those are the most recent 5 books that I have finished for March Mystery Madness. I can count this one for weather because it's Death in the Clouds, but I have been reading 2 of these books so that I could get to the next one, which is The Woman Who Walked in Sunshine, because I plan to count that for weather. And I've got it checked out on Hoopla. If I hadn't already checked it out, I would probably just save it for later, but it's already checked out, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get it done by the end of tomorrow. And Eggs in Purgatory, I'm counting for space, because Purgatory, people believe, is that space between this life and the afterlife. And then Rebecca, I am counting for the single word title prompt. And that is it for what I have read most recently. I will hopefully be back by April 1st with a video of like a wrap-up of the month. If I don't get to it, it'll be probably next Tuesday, because we're going to be gone from Friday to Monday. Just Katie and I are going, but I'm not going to have any way to film any videos or upload anything. I don't even know if I'll have access to internet while we're gone. So I'm just going to read and enjoy the trip. And whatever I get done before we leave will be great. And if I don't get it done, then hopefully you will be there to watch it next week. So for now, that's all for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.